the Cruelty to Animals Act. This is dated 22nd of April 1904. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Cruelty to Animals Act. Section 2, interpretation. Animal means any horse, mare, gelding, colt, filly, bull, cow, ox, steer, heifer, calf, mule, ass, ram, ewe, sheep, lamb, boar, sow, burro, hog, pig, goat, kid, dog, cat, or any other animal, whether of the kind of species particularly mentioned or of any other kind of species whatsoever, and whether a quadruped or not. Section a quadruped or not. I guess this probably means having four legs. Alright, section 3. Cruelly beating, etc. any animal. Every person who cruelly beats, ill-treats, starves, overdrives, overrides, overloads, those would mean overwork, abuses, tortures, or otherwise maltreats any animal shall be guilty of an offense against this act. Section 4. Working, etc. animals unfit for work. Every person who works or causes to be worked any animal in such a condition as to be unfit for work, whether from emaciation or from any gall or sore or otherwise, and whether that condition, well, that means if the animal is sick, or whether that condition is caused by disease or deficient feeling or otherwise, shall be guilty of an offense against this act. So you're not supposed to work any sick animal, whether on your farm or otherwise. Section 5. Causing injury or suffering by willful neglect. Every person who, by willful negligence, causes any injury or suffering to any animal shall be guilty of an offense against this act. Section 6. Bull baiting, etc. Every person who a. in any manner encourages, aids, or assists at the fighting or baiting of any bull, dog, cock, or other kind of animal, whether domestic or wild, or b. keeping, or keeps, or uses, or acts in the management of any place to be used for the purpose of fighting or baiting any such animal as aforesaid, or c. being the owner or occupier thereof, permits or suffers any place to be so used, or d. receives money for the admission of any other person to any place kept or used for any of the purposes aforesaid, shall be guilty of an offense against this act. So you mustn't have animals fight each other or allow them to fight on your premises, or collect money for persons who come to watch for their entertainment any fighting of animals. If you do that, you are guilty of an offense against this act. Section 7. Causing avoidable or unnecessary pain or suffering to any animal. Every person who conveys or carries or places in or upon any cart or other vehicle, or in or upon any vessel or boat, or otherwise any animal in such a manner or position as to subject such animal to avoidable and unnecessary pain or suffering shall be guilty of an offense against this act. So don't allow animals to draw any cart in such a way as to cause the animal to suffer unnecessarily. Section 8. So, using or employing animal brought to be destroyed. Every person who uses or employs or permits to be used or employed in any manner of work any animal which is brought or delivered to him for the purpose of being destroyed, and every person who is found using or employing any such animal shall be guilty of an offense against this act. So I guess if you're a butcher and the animal brought to you, you're having, instead of killing the animal, you're having the animal work, or if the animal is to be put down and you're a veterinarian employed to put down the animal, and instead of doing that, you're using the animal for other purposes. All right, that seems to be what it's saying. Section 9. Causing unnecessary suffering in killing any animal. Every person who, in killing any animal, willfully, carelessly, or negligently causes it unnecessary suffering shall be guilty of an offense against this act. Alright? Section 10. Using animal under 2 years and a half. Every person who uses any animal under the age of 2 years and a half in any cart, plough, or carriage, or as a beast of burden, shall be guilty of an offense against this act. Alright? Section 11. Docking or nicking tails of horses, etc. Every person who willfully docks or nicks the tail of any horse, mare, gelding, colt, filly, or mule shall be guilty of an offense under this act, and any person in whose possession any animal so docked or nicked shall be found prima facie be deemed to be the person who docked or nicked the animal. Now I found online, docking is the intentional removal of part of an animal's tail, or sometimes the ears. The term docking is more commonly used in reference to the cropping of ears, while docking more commonly, but not exclusively, refers to the tail. The term tailing is also commonly used. Prima facie is from Latin. Is a Latin expression meaning at first sight or based on first impression. Alright. 12. Any person who, Section 12, keeping animals for trap, shooting, etc. Every person who A. procures, has in his possession, or delivers any bird or animal for the purpose of being used for trap shooting, or secures or causes to be secured the tongue of any animal in such a manner as to cause unnecessary pain or suffering to such animal shall be guilty of an offense under this act. Section 13. Arrest of offenders. It shall be lawful for any constable, upon view of any cruelty for which a person is liable to punishment under this act, or upon information of any other person who states that he has seen such cruelty, and who shall give his name and place of abode, to arrest the offender without warrant, if he does not know or is unable thereupon to ascertain the name and address of such offender. 14. Section 14. Seizure and production of animal before court. It shall be lawful for the constable to seize and take before the court before which the offender is brought the animal in relation to which the offense is alleged to have been committed, whether the person liable to punishment under this act shall have been arrested under the previous section or not. Section 15. Destruction or injured animal. 1. If any constable finds any animal other than any sheep, goat, swine, dog, cat, poultry, or bird so severely injured or in such a state of health that it cannot without undue suffering be moved, he may, if the owner is absent or refuses to consent to the destruction of the animal, on obtaining a certificate from a veterinary surgeon or justice of the peace that such animal is so severely injured or in such a state of health that it would be cruel to keep it alive, cause such animal to be slaughtered in a manner causing as little pain as possible to such animal. 2. If any constable finds any sheep, goat, swine, dog, cat, poultry, or bird so severely injured or in such a state of health that it cannot without undue suffering be moved, he may cause such animal to be slaughtered in a manner causing as little pain as possible to such animal. Section 16. Penalty, slaughtering of animal by order of court. If any person shall be convicted of an offense against this act, he shall be liable to a penalty not exceeding $1,000. And if the owner of any animal shall be convicted of an offense under this act in respect of such animal, the convincing court may order him to pay, in addition to the aforesaid penalty, the reasonable cost of any person or persons having the care or keep of such animal, including the cost of veterinary treatment for the date of the seizure of the animal, for the seizure of the animal to the date of the conviction of such owner, and in either case the court so convincing may, if it thinks fit, direct the animal in respect of which the offense was committed to be slaughtered, So it seems like this is saying that if the person is convicted of an offense against the animal to be slaughtered, they must pay at least $1,000, and also pay to anybody who kept the animal. For example, when the constable sees the animal and the animal is kept in a pound or such place, the expenses to keep the animal alive up to that point, the owner should pay such expenses. That seems to be what it is saying. On such direction being given, the chief officer of constabulary of that parish shall cause such animal to be slaughtered with such instrument or appliances, and with such precaution, in any such manner as to inflict as little pain and suffering as practicable. Section 17. Recovery of expense of slaughtering and removing any animal. 17. Section 1. Any reasonable expense which may be incurred by the chief officer of constabulary in any parish, or by any constable in slaughtering any animal or causing any animal to be slaughtered in pursuance of the provisions of this act, or in removing the carcass of any animal so slaughtered from any street or public place for the purpose of this act, may be recovered from the owner summarily as a civil debt. So the owner should pay the cost of slaughtering the animal and removing its carcass. Subsection 2. Any reasonable expense which may be incurred by any person or persons having the care to keep or keep of any animal, including the cost of veterinary treatment from the date of seizure of such animal to the date of the conviction of the owner thereof for an offense against this act in respect of the animal, may be recovered from the owner summarily as a civil debt, unless such expense has been previously recovered under the provisions of Section 16, has previously been recovered under the provisions of Section 16. Section 18. Recovery and enforcement of penalties. And remember, I am not an attorney at law. I'm just reading the act. And even though certain parts of the act, or even all of it, might not apply to you directly, it's still interesting to know what these acts say. So I continue. All offenses against this act shall be tried, and all penalties imposed upon the authority of this act shall be recovered and enforced in a summary manner in the parish in which the offense is committed, and if such penalty is not forthwith paid, the court may award imprisonment with or without hard labor for a period not exceeding 3 months. So that $1,000 plus payment to keep the animal, if you don't pay it, the court may award you a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 months. Section 19. Detention of animal by order of court and maintenance of such animal. On any conviction under this act for cruelty in relation to in respect of any animal, the court may, if it thinks that such animal is unfit to work, direct that it be detained in any place which shall have been notified in the Gazette as set apart by the Jamaica Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, for for that purpose for any period not exceeding 3 days, and the owner of such animal shall be liable to the society for any reasonable cost of maintaining the animal during such period, to be recovered summarily as a civil debt. We see the word summarily being used several times in this and other acts. So summarily, as I found in an online dictionary, means in a prompt or direct manner, immediately or straight away. Right. Section 20, non-liability except for gross negligence of any officer of society. Except for gross negligence, no officer or servant of the said society, that's the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or person having charge of any place set apart as aforesaid, shall be liable in respect of the death or sickness or deterioration of or any accident or casualty to any animal detained in such place under the provisions of this act. So the owner cannot then go and sue the society because their animal was taken there and then died or became ill. That seems to be what it is saying. Section 21, disposal of unclaimed animal. If any animal detained under the provisions of this act for any period shall, on the expiration of that period, or within 48 hours thereof, not be claimed by the owner thereof, the person having charge thereof may, after 7 days' notice published in the Gazette, sell it by auction and apply the proceeds towards the expense to be incurred under this act, or may destroy it. Alright, so that was the Cruelty to Animals Act.